Imagine having everything: money, fame, power, a mansion with gold fixtures, a private jet waiting on the tarmac, millions in the bank. Now imagine risking all of it for a lipstick you don't need, a watch you could buy 100 times over, or a pair of socks. This is not fiction. This is the true story of Daniel Whitaker, a millionaire entrepreneur, philanthropist, and compulsive thief. Welcome to The Millionaire Who Couldn't Stop Stealing: The Dark Truth Behind Kleptomania. In the next 30 minutes, we'll uncover the twisted childhood that planted the seed, how kleptomania hides in plain sight, and how success can sometimes mask the deepest wounds. This isn't just about theft. It's about the human mind, hidden pain, and the strange places trauma can take us. Daniel Whitaker was the picture of success, a self-made tech entrepreneur from Seattle, Washington. Net worth estimated $74 million. He was a guest at charity galas, a speaker at Ivy League universities. People called him the golden boy of innovation. But behind the tailored suits and polished smile was a secret Daniel could no longer control. It started small: a pack of chewing gum from a gas station, then a tie from a department store, then an antique pen from a museum gift shop. All while cameras watched, all while he had cash in his wallet. Daniel never needed any of it, so why did he keep stealing? Daniel first stole when he was 8. He was in a crowded grocery store with his mother, Margaret Whitaker, a perfectionist, emotionally distant woman who criticized everything he did. That day, he spotted a candy bar. He asked for it. "No, we don't eat trash," she snapped. So he waited until her back was turned and slipped it into his pocket. At home, he ate it under the bed, shaking, excited, terrified. No one found out. But something strange happened. For the first time in his life, Daniel felt powerful, not because he had the candy, but because he had broken a rule and gotten away with it. That feeling would stick with him for life. Daniel's teenage years were filled with two obsessions: achieving and hiding. He graduated early, won national coding competitions, started his first business at 17. He was chasing something: validation, maybe, or escape. But even then, the stealing hadn't stopped. From hardware stores, classmates' bags, a watch from his teacher's desk, he justified it. "They don't miss it. I'll return it later. I'm just testing security." In college, Daniel's company exploded. Within 5 years, he was a millionaire. He bought a penthouse, a Ferrari, a villa in Spain. But he still walked into stores and slipped items into his coat. The thrill was stronger than ever, and so was the shame. You might be wondering, what is kleptomania really? Kleptomania is a rare but serious mental health disorder. It's not about greed. It's not about rebellion. It's about compulsion. People with kleptomania experience intense urges to steal, rising anxiety before the theft, relief or gratification after it, followed by guilt and remorse. The key detail? They don't need what they steal. Experts believe it's linked to childhood trauma, impulse control disorders, serotonin imbalances in the brain. Daniel had all three, but he had no idea. To the world, he was a genius, a giver, a star. In secret, he was spiraling. It was a regular Tuesday. Daniel walked into a boutique in Manhattan. He smiled at the cashier, walked around. Then, in one swift motion, he slipped a $2,300 bracelet into his coat. He was caught, not by cameras, not by store security, but by a 12-year-old girl who whispered, "Mom, that man took something." The store owner, shocked, confronted Daniel outside. He froze. For the first time, he didn't lie. He pulled out the bracelet and said quietly, "I'm sorry, I have a problem." The news didn't break right away, but that moment was the beginning of the end. 3 weeks later, the boutique incident hit the press. Millionaire caught shoplifting. Billion-dollar brain, 5-finger discount. Daniel Whitaker, the genius with sticky fingers. The internet erupted. Memes, mockery. Psychologists weighed in. Was it greed, arrogance, addiction? His sponsors pulled out. Board members resigned. His company's stock dropped 27%. For the first time in his life, Daniel was no longer in control of his narrative. He checked into a private psychiatric hospital in Switzerland. Daniel stayed in therapy for 14 months. When he emerged, he looked different, thinner, older, but more honest. He began speaking out, not as a success story, but as a cautionary tale. He launched a mental health foundation focused on impulse control disorders. He appeared on talk shows, podcasts, and even gave a TED Talk called "The Things I Took and What I Was Really Stealing." It went viral. But Daniel didn't want fame anymore. He just wanted peace. So, what do we take from Daniel's story? That success doesn't protect us from inner demons. That trauma doesn't disappear when the bank account grows. That some of the most destructive battles are fought silently, in the mind. Kleptomania isn't glamorous, it isn't funny, it's a cry for help buried under shame. Daniel Whitaker had everything, but the one thing he needed most was healing. This was The Millionaire Who Couldn't Stop Stealing: The Dark Truth Behind Kleptomania. If you found this story powerful, consider sharing it. Because somewhere, someone is struggling in silence. And they need to know they're not alone. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful true life stories. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. Until then, stay curious, stay human.